start with the peculiarities of Ethiopian coffee. There are some points which Ethiopian coffee is very peculiar compared to other coffee producing countries or other coffees. One is job opportunity. In Ethiopia, the farmers who are engaged in coffee are around 5.6 million people, households. If you multiply by 5, one household might have five individuals. So it's around 30 million people are engaged in coffee. That's unique. The biggest number in the world. The biggest producer is Brazil, but the biggest number engaged in coffee is Ethiopians. Yeah. The other is export earning. It covers around 30% of Ethiopian foreign exchange earning. The coffee is the largest, even it was around 70% some decades ago. So it is the largest, so it needs the biggest attention from concerned stakeholders. Yeah. The other part is conducive climatic conditions. Edaphic and climatic conditions, resources are very conducive for coffee. When I say this, Ethiopian climatic condition is from lowland to highland, around from 1,600, 1,500 to 2,400. It's conducive altitude for coffee production. So when you take Ethiopian edaphic soil type and climatic conditions, it's very, very conducive for coffee production. So it's possible to produce more coffee quantities than what we are producing now. So there is ample opportunities to produce higher quantity and to export higher quantities than what we are doing now. So one is that. The other is coffee varieties. That's a very surprising point where you're going to see the peculiarities of one of the peculiarities of Ethiopian coffee. Coffee varieties, it's assumed by many researchers, it's more than 10,000 varieties are found in Ethiopia. Some are in ex situ and some are in situ. In Jimma University, when you take ex situ, it's kept at Jimma University around 6,000 varieties. This is a very unique part of Ethiopian coffee and which we have to use as a selling point. The other is specialty coffee. The specialty coffee, when you say specialty coffee, it's related to its traceability, quality, and sustainability. In this aspect, Ethiopia has a big opportunity in producing specialty coffee. It's Ethiopian coffee cup quality, cup profile is cherished by many international coffee lovers and aficionados. Yeah, of course. Even sometimes, you know, when you relate to the coffee culture, you find coffee trees of as old as 300 years in Ethiopia. For coffee production, that's not good. For coffee tourism, it's best. You don't find an old as old as 300 years coffee tree in another country. So in Ethiopia, you find that around west part of Ethiopia, you're going to find old trees. Yeah, for production it's bad.
Is it?
For productivity?
Yeah.
Yes, it's not good. It's old enough.
Oh,
yeah, it has to be pruned or stamped. Yeah.
So you were also telling me how most of the coffee that is grown is usually used for household.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about how coffee and tourism go together, especially with the Ethiopian country.
Coffee and tourism. Tourism is more of visiting and enjoying what you get naturally or man-made. And the coffee itself, it's economic activity. So people this time, they are going and visiting. Let me mention one thing which you have not enjoyed before I tell you about coffee tourism. If you go to Japan, there is forest bathing. Yeah. There are tourists who come from USA and America, go to Japan or any country in the world who has a very good forest. They go and visit forest. There is nothing, it's forest. But if you come to here, there is forest, there is coffee, they can harvest, they can see what's going on coffee area.
Yeah.
So for coffee tourism, there is ample opportunity for Ethiopia to enjoy, to maximize the benefits of coffee, not only in economic activity, but in tourism too. Yeah.
You're also telling me about the forests
Forest coffee.
Yeah, forest coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unique. There is no in any other country. As what we have, the forest coffee, which covers around 10% of Ethiopian coffee export, it's found only in Ethiopia. So when you talk about forest coffee, it's naturally grown. No one is touching it. No one is almost owning it. Just some guys or some farmers go once in a year and they harvest going to that forest. Naturally grown. Even if you see the tree, this the garden coffee and this forest coffee, it doesn't seem coffee, that the forest coffee, because it's not. No one is caring. By looking for sunshine, it might grow up, unlike which is pruned one. Yeah.
You're also mentioning how they grow under the coffee that grows under the shade.
Yeah. It's growing under almost 95% of Ethiopian coffee is growing under the shade. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. That's related to the flavor, the aroma, which people are looking for from coffee, like wine. It's after all, coffee is gastronomic product. Okay. It's not a commodity. Mm-hmm. You love it. You prefer it by its flavor and aroma. So when you come to this shade coffee or forest coffee, the soil type, the rainfall volume, call a name, naturally endowed one. So that kind of things will give a unique flavor and aroma for that specific coffee. Yeah. So even the fruits which are grown around coffee, they give it takes that kind of aroma or flavor from coffee, from that fruit, and that's what people prefer Ethiopian coffee to get.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So what about other countries in relation to coffee? What about other African countries?
African countries are not coffee consumers. Mm-hmm. In coffee production, Uganda is producing as much half of Ethiopian production quantity. Yeah. Kenya, a very small quantity, around 50,000 tons. And Rwanda, Tanzania, there are some. Congo, Ivory Coast, they are producing some. Ivory Coast is producing Robusta. Uganda too are producing Robusta coffee. But Arabica coffee, we only have Arabica coffee.
Or Arabica coffee.
Yeah, when you talk about Africa, it's only from production side. Even from consumption side, African coffee consumption is 35% of African coffee consumption, 29% of African coffee consumption is held by Ethiopians. Yes, all 29% of African consumption is Ethiopian.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
The next largest consumer is Algeria. Oh. Yeah, for Ethiopian consumers, which we have not reached out. Ethiopian exporters, which we have not